terms of going back to the, one person's rubbish is another person's treasure, talk to us about typical examples in the bartering world that might have surprised you, or things that you weren't expecting in a good way that have maybe blown you away in terms of the exchange benefits for either party, right? Yeah. Because in my mind, you've got... I did it the other week. I took a few items that you go to the kind of local council rubbish, place, and if things aren't fit for purpose, you throw them away and hopefully get them recycled. But there's another area where you feel like, oh, well, this could be of use to somebody. I don't need it anymore, and you put it in a special place.
Does your recycle centre have that?
It does, yeah.
Wow.
Does yours not?
Nope.
That's interesting.
I'm usually the person climbing in the skip.
That's a whole different podcast. But so I think I would absolutely now use the Barter In app to put items in my cupboard, to put it up there in the hope that somebody else sees value from it. Yeah. But give us some examples of the things you've seen or you've encountered.
My biggest surprise was two, probably, to be honest. Well, even just the other day, we got a dining table and 3 chairs for some cat food. I mean, it seems like an unfair exchange, but that's all the person wanted. They're basically giving it away for free. Yeah. But just at least they're getting something out of it, some household goods, and quite a lot of people just want that. So it could be
cleaning goods,
cleaning products,
toilet roll.
Toilet roll and stuff, kitchen roll.
But see, this is a really important point because if you think about what I did at the local rubbish tip,
yep.
I'm gladly giving that stuff away.
Yeah.
And I don't expect, don't need anything in exchange. I just want somebody else to gain value from that. Yep. So you might look at an exchange in typical fashion and say, what, cat food for a desk and 3 chairs?
I know.
But actually the reality is, if that desk and 3 chairs, it isn't loved as much, or it's been replaced, rather than throw it away, then actually there's a sentiment that says, listen, if you want this for nothing, please take it, because I'd get some good vibes from giving it to you.
The funny thing is, the
free.
person was so grateful for the cat food.
Really?
We bought them extra cat food just because you're thinking, right, okay, you know what I mean? And they're very grateful for that. So, in terms of bargains, right, it's good for that. But, somebody's getting rid of something and somebody's gaining something. And no matter what, the person who doesn't want their main item to start with is still getting something back out of it. Yep. Whether it be cat food, cleaning products,
or something they needed for their house.
Yeah.
You usually find that if people don't need anything in particular, so for example, the other day I put on a roof box to barter right now. Okay. I don't need anything in particular right now, apart from a hand to tidy up my back garden. So I've put it on saying, look, this is available if somebody's willing to come and help me tidy up the back garden after the storm. So you can exchange services and things as well. But as Scott said, some people are happy to just get rid of things because, I don't know about your local authority area, but in our local authority area now, you don't even get one free uplift of rubbish a year now. So every time you want a wardrobe or a chest of drawers, unless you've got the car and the physical ability to dismantle it and take it somewhere, you're kind of stuck.
Yep.
So hopefully down the line, what we're looking at is having a free section on the Barter app as well.
So that's what I was going to ask. You beat me to it.
We're looking at having a free section on the Barter app where people can put things on that they really genuinely just want rid of.
Great.
Which is great for other people, but the funniest, well, not the funniest barter, but probably the most unusual barters.
I was going to go on the car.
Yeah, so
yeah. So I'll let you tell the story.
So I've bartered 2 cars.
Two cars, actually,
I've bartered 2 cars. I know, I collect stuff.
That's genuinely, that's unfathomable.
It's thinking outside the box as well.
Yeah, it's thinking outside the box. So I ended up with a wee Volkswagen Beetle that I got, and it just wasn't the right car for me. So the right car came up, so I bought that one, and the Beetle was sitting, and it needed an MOT, and it needed some work done to it, and it was going to cost me more to repair it than it was worth. But I thought, there must be a mechanic out there or somebody handy that maybe can't afford a car, could do it up. And what I needed at that point in time was, I hadn't long moved home. I needed the house decorated. I need bits painted. So I bartered a car for painting and decorating.
That really makes me stop and think, God, there really is not a lot that isn't potentially included in the possibilities here, right?
Yeah. Well, in that
services
position,
services is a big thing as well. We've not really included that as a main part
But it can
of
still
our
be
app
an
just
option.
now. It's the first version of that, so we.
But isn't that exciting, Scott, that you've got all these potential added-on features that are on your roadmap already?
Oh yeah.
Right. You know, we'll get into kind of launch dates and everything later on. But the point is, you're already planning and having really good clarity on the roadmap of features and functions for people. And I guess as users continue to use the app when they can get it in their hands, then
community feedback is going to be essential as well. What people want, what they don't want, parts of the app that don't get used, what they don't like, but what they would like to add in. We can do that further down the line.
Yep. Even thinking of things as simple as kids' clothing and kids' toys. We've all got kids. We all know how quickly they grow, how quickly they grow out of things, how quickly they're disillusioned by one toy that they rent the face off you for. 2 months earlier at Christmas, and you queued up in Smith's overnight to get.
What was that phrase again? I've got to stop you there. What was that? Before Christmas, they what the face off you?
What did I say? Nip the face off you? Nip the face
nip
off
the
you?
face off you. That's a new one.
Or nip the nut off you.
There you go. That's a new one. Sorry, I interrupted.
That's all right. We work with an Argentinian team that you put us in touch with, well, they can't really understand Scott. They struggle.
Oh, no.
But I teach them new Scottish words every week when we're on the phone.
Phenomenal.
That's their favourite part of the meeting.
It is. They all say, what's the Scottish word today?
Yeah.
I'll say, gleich.
What does that mean if she points to me?
Exactly. Right, so let's talk a bit about circular economies, sustainability. That's part of the brand, I think. That's part of the ethos. But just give us, again, how important do you think that is for the user in today's world? Because for me personally, I see that becoming more and more of a really a hill that people want to die on now versus something that would be a nice to have going back 5-10 years even. So just let's explore that a little bit.
I think that the damage that we're doing to our planet has been brought much more into awareness, certainly since I was at school, but it's really ramped up in the last 10-15 years. And it does make you start to think, especially when you approach, I was going to say middle age, but I don't class myself as being there yet. When you start to approach a certain age and you start to think about life and you start to think about your kids and your possible grandkids and what's the world going to look like, and right now it's a scary place to be. I'm quite glad I might not be here when all these robots start coming in and running about. But it really, I think people are becoming much more aware of the fact that we are actually really damaging the planet, and there's actually no need for it, because the volume of, for example, clothing, even just clothing and shoes, again, back to that Netflix programme, I wish I'd taken the statistics, but the visuals in it are unbelievable.
It's frightening, right?
It actually makes you feel a bit ashamed about what's in your house. It really does.
It's fast fashion, they call it, isn't it? Because it's so cheap, it's disposable. It's not made to last. So.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely much more awareness. And especially with youngsters, as I said, I would have been horrified if I thought my mum was going to a charity shop when I was younger. She tells me she did. I didn't know, so it was all right. But now, the kids are more aware of it because they've been taught about it much more in school. Whereas it was just a kind of, all I remember hearing about in school was the ozone layer and CFCs. That's about the depth of knowledge that we get taught about.
It was almost like geeky science back then, wasn't it? And now it's mainstream, I think.
Whereas now it's a reality. It's a reality to us. We are going to run out of fossil fuels. We are going to have to look at different ways, and especially back to the cost of living. The cost of living's never been higher. And if this can help people to reduce, their cost of living, as I said before, for example, my house, literally, I would say 60% of the furniture in it at least.
This app will be ideal for people in low incomes. Because
people inflation's
sky high. People are struggling to afford things that they want. So I think
it really ticks. I think it. What's so exciting about this app for me is it ticks so many boxes, right? Let's not shy away from the fun element, right? I would love to find stuff that
it is addictive,
right? Right. So there's that, and I think that's compelling on its own. But the fact that you've got this, this virtuosity about it, this ability to contribute in some small way to the circular economy, to be sustainable and to be responsible. I think it's like, what's to lose?
To be honest, Paul, I don't know why somebody's not done it already. I don't know why there's not an app out just now, because there's so many people doing it.
It's so exciting. I love following the journey. So let's talk about the third platform team. Then you touched upon them. They're offshore team.
Yep.
I introduced you, and I just want to touch upon some of the experiences that you had with our development team. Right. So in terms of what you're about to launch, you know, how, and be brutally honest here, right? But how aligned is that product with what your original concept was? I mean, did they do a good job on?
Done a very good job, don't they?
We
For the designer, Thomas.
We had no prior knowledge in any of this, right?
Yep.
We just had an idea.
Yep.
Scott's a plasterer. I'm a civil servant.
Yep.
We have a social enterprise background. None of us are particularly techie.
No.
Scott's recently just learned Teams, which is great.
Well done, Scott. Well done,
I
Scott.
wouldn't go that far.